So as you guys might or might not know, there's a lesbian kiss in episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, some theaters are running it, obviously in America, but around the world, some theaters and some countries are not happy, and Singapore has pulled it from the theaters. Let's take a look at the article about that. Here we go. So, here it is from Bounding into Comics. Brief same-sex kiss scene in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker cut from Singapore screenings. A minor scene in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker featuring two female Resistance members sharing a kiss has been cut from the release of the film in Singapore in order for the film to keep a PG-13 rating. I would think that would be PG-13. The Info Communications Media Development Authority, a statutory board in Singapore responsible for regulating the country's media, told the BBC that the scene was cut by Disney before submission to the board in order to ensure that the film would hold a PG-13 rating. The applicant has omitted a brief scene which under the film classification guidelines would require higher rating. I'm not sure why that would require higher rating, because it's not nudity, it's just two women in uniform sharing a little moment together, so I'm not really sure. Following the footsteps of the United Arab Emirates, Singapore is now the second country to remove the scene from screenings of the film. In Singapore, homosexuality is still considered illegal, though the law is more punitive towards gay relationships between males than towards relationships between lesbian females. And the opposite goes for Middle Eastern countries. It's a harsher law against homosexuality for women, not men. Same-sex marriages are not recognized, same-sex partners cannot adopt, and there are no discrimination protections afforded to LGBT plus individuals. Gay men specifically can face up to 2 years in prison if charged of any act of gross indecency for engaging in romantic or sexual activity with another man. Don't hate me, I'm just the messenger. I've told you guys before that homosexuality is actually illegal in other countries. Nigeria is the toughest in the world on it. In the scene, which features Commander Daisy, who first appeared in The Last Jedi, sharing a quick kiss with an unnamed female Resistance member, was lauded by media outsources for making history despite lasting mere seconds and being included in the film in an early editable format for foreign markets. Alright, so there you have it. Basically, we've got some controversy about this lesbian kiss in the theaters, and it's not just Singapore. This article happens to be on Singapore. There's more come out about it, and you know, it just gets me thinking, why did Disney include this in the movie if they're just going to end up cutting it out, have controversies, stir up trouble? JJ's getting into some, not arguments, but JJ ends up defending it in interviews. Like I said, the goddamn interviews don't come down to characters, choices about story, things about Star Wars. These interviews these days about Star Wars and entertainment come down to these controversial issues and choices they put in the movie for the political correctness and representation, and I've got no problem with representation in the right atmosphere, at the right time and place, absolutely. Same thing with the feminism and strong women. Obviously, feminism, as it was in the 1960s, is a great thing, but when you have it in Star Wars about the main character, who's now the chosen one, because she's awesome, because there wasn't enough women in Star Wars, then we have a problem. Because now the character becomes cardboard, and she does every single thing that every other Jedi could do since the beginning of history, and she becomes boring. And then I become a toxic, sexist hater because I call that out. When the reality is, they're putting these issues in Star Wars to White Knight, and it's unclear, actually. I mean, why? What's the point? You know, it doesn't actually raise sales. It doesn't actually help them sell the movie. It's just stirring it up. And I think the people behind the scenes at Lucasfilms have morals about it. And I think their morals, like Kathleen Kennedy per se, happen to be stronger than the desire to make good Star Wars and sell movies. I don't think she cares. I think Kathleen Kennedy's goal was to have this Star Wars trilogy, meaning the Disney trilogy, be some kind of message for her political correctness and inclusion and whatever the hell else you want to say, and that was the focus, and that's why it's disjointed and terrible objectively without even getting into any of the political stuff, basically. Alright, I'm doing shout-outs, special thanks, things like that. Do a shout-out right now. Shout-out to No Way Neophobic Jeremy. He's been giving me some good support on Twitter. Really appreciate it. There is your shout-out. If you're passing by, listening up to this point, subscribe. I'm doing Star Wars, pop culture, stuff like that. And yeah. Okay, that's it. This is like take 10. I'm done. I'll see you next time if you subscribe. I already said that.